Good evening, everybody. This is Dina over at Monroe Center Grade School with my board report for this year, giving you some highlights from last year, maybe a few lowlights as well, and where we are at currently this year in the building, getting started and off the ground. I will try to be as brief as I was at the data retreat in June and very direct in what I'm doing for the building report this year. Second page, we have literally an agenda with the guide. If you want to look at certain things, you can know where to go. You have links in here to go back and forth, so you should be good to go. Getting started with the data from last year, just getting to the point. I have all the links in here, so you are welcome to look through them. They are the links that we shared with you at June with the end of year data. To give you a little summary, our academic math, we achieved 68% of our students at or above grade level. And that is 219 out of 324 students. If you see any of the information that I share this year with you, it will always have the students on it. We started doing that at the end of last year because in a conversation with PJ and myself, when I point out we're talking about students and little humans, it is so much easier for me to be very direct in where we need to go and how many kids we have left to get there. With our academic ELA, we did fall short with what we shot. We shot for the moon. We achieved 48%, and we have a distance to go to get there. We had 154 students out of 324 that met the goal last year. And I would imagine this year, with what we're doing already and how direct we have been with the interventions we've been doing, along with what we have focused on from our DIBELS testing, we are on the right track this year in the second year of using Amplify series, as well as everything being based on the science of reading and what we're doing. I know we're doing the right work and going the right direction. I am hoping that we see a huge difference in that this year. And I am thinking that, kind of predicting that next year will be a huge year for us. As we notice, normally once you adopt a series or a new resource, usually the third year you start to notice huge gains. So I am already seeing things in the building that are different from last year. So I'm very optimistic. With our culture and systems goals last year, we did fall a little short in our systems goal, not very much, but we did a great job with interventions and our intervention bursts, where we achieved 63% of our students growing a level or exiting out of interventions completely. And our culture goal, we fell short just a tad with our student relationships. And in collective responsibility, we have that in a piece of our school improvement plan this year, as we fell short there as well on collective responsibility. And we're working on that, recognizing there are students all across the building and everybody has a role in this, and how we support one another and use the gifts that each other have and the excellence that we have in this building, but across grade levels, across departments, across everything, working together and believing that we make a difference for every single kid. If you want to see any of the data, feel free to take a look at the links. I know you've seen the data a million different ways from what we had in June, from what you've seen in the boardroom. Feel free to look through that as you need to. Moving forward to our school improvement plans for fiscal 24, we have our academic, our culture, and system. If you see the links there, you're welcome to click on those links, and you have the developed school improvement plan with every single action step that we plan on doing in this building. But to be brief, the actual goal is listed right under the tab. For our academic, this year we want 60% of all of our students to be at or above the 50th percentile on STAR assessments, and 70% of our students are going to demonstrate growth on their STAR rating assessments. For our culture goal, by the end of 23-24, we will improve our 5 essential score on the collective responsibility and increase that score to at least 55 or better. And then on the on the student relationship piece and Satchel Pulse, we want to move that to the 7.5 rather than our current yellow zone at 7.3. We just want to be in the green. I want to be in the green with student relationships all across the board. With our system goal, by the end of this year, all classrooms will have students establish individual wildly important goals, or WIGs, as well as develop their leadership binders in order to have students understand, own, and begin to drive their own learning. And that is based on all of the feedback we got from our Lighthouse review last spring. So we took everything that were areas of improvement from our Lighthouse review, and we built that goal from there. for our fiscal year 24 data, so our current picture as of yet, and we're talking, we are, let's just say today, September 29th, this is where we're at. So star reading currently, we have 39% that are at or above grade level. That's 120 out of 307 students. So we have a ways to go and a lot of work to do. Star Math, currently, we have 63% of all of our students are at or above grade level, which is fantastic. But I know by the end of this year, it's going to be even better than that. So we have 192 currently out of 307 students that are at or above grade level. So I cannot imagine where we will be by the end of the year. I'm looking at huge numbers and being, I'm very optimistic there. I put DIBBLES on here, and just so everybody knows, I know there's a lot of talk about that in the buildings. That stands for Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. This is our second year that we've used this testing to continue to drill down and determine the basic foundational next steps based on the needs of our students. And this is, I can't thank you guys enough for allowing us to dig into this with all of the letters training that has been the ability to do what we've been doing and learning about also the science of reading and everything that has been being done in the building. I don't think our starting DIBBLES could have began at a better time with coming out of the pandemic and having a lot of our, like last year's third graders, having missed so much in their earlier years, not being in the building, and then noticing that with our third graders this year. I cannot thank you guys enough for the time and the ability to have our instructional coaches and learn how to do better with the data that we have, because we are finding out so many things about our littles that we really need to develop and help build those foundations for them. So I put the Scarborough's reading rope right there, so you guys can kind of see how we are building reading within the buildings and all of the skills that need to intertwine before we have skilled readers. So I wanted to share that with you, but that's our current picture of the building right now. To share a few highlights, obviously, you all know that we received Lighthouse status last May. Super proud of that. We had kiddos at the beginning of the year. We always have our ping pong ball adventure as they grow in their STAR testing. I'm beyond proud of the work that's been done so far and plan on continuing to work with leadership in our school as we continue that journey. To give you a little more information about the leadership, our drop everything and lead time is out of sight this year. We have oh my goodness, we have so many groups that the kids were interested in learning more about and trying to be in leadership groups. So we have more groups this year, more mentors. If you want to hear about deal time, that means drop everything and lead at Monroe Center. This year, instead of once a month, we are doing it twice a month. We are doing it every other Thursday beginning October 19th. To be very honest, I'm going to do like a little pitch here for you guys. If any of you have some leadership gifts that you would like to share with children, that you would like to mentor one of these groups with some of our other fine mentors in the building, this year I'm proud to say we have staff mentors, we have parent mentors, and we have actually staff members coming from other buildings to help us with mentor groups. This has been a huge impact on children, and we've had a lot of fun with it as adults too. But when you get to see them lead, it really reminds you of why you do what you do. So thank you for allowing us to continue on this journey with Leader and Me. I want to get to family and community engagement. I'm super excited about this slide, just largely because over the past few years, during COVID, obviously family did not come into the building, nor did community. And I'll be honest with you, after COVID, I was a little shy in inviting people in the building because I felt a little beat up after COVID, and I don't know that I welcomed people very well to come into the building or invited them in, because I think I was a little bit shy on how that was going to be received, and I was kind of exhausted of criticism. So while that might not be the right thing for a leader to say, I want to be honest about that and direct. We have had a great year so far. We have already had our first a family engagement night. We had our family mission statement night overlapped with the kickoff of our One Book, One School. That was last night, and it was awesome. We had some great families in the building. We had kiddos work with them on how to create mission statements. We have our mission statements posted up in the building for classrooms and pictures. And we are very excited. We are reading Class Dismissed as our One Book, One School. And we had a teacher that is retiring in the next year or so. And she used her teacher leader stipend to pay for all the books. So that was a great, generous donation for our kiddos and our families. We'll have our leadership day this year. And again, the sharing your leadership is largely about inviting the community into our building to help them mentor leadership groups and have those relationships with our school. So I am beyond excited and proud about that. Sharing with you from all the data that you just saw or you have the links to see, and knowing where we were at with what we need to do, these are our opportunities moving forward in the building. Taking the Dibbles information and getting us on track, starting with our third graders foundationally. We recognize that there's some phonemic awareness that's necessary. Their decoding skills really need to be worked on, and that's impacting their overall reading. So we are trying to start with them first and work on those. Our Title I specialist is doing additional work with them in several of the grade level classes for third grade. And we are moving from traditional rote memory and spelling, because when you know better, you do better. So moving from the traditional rote spelling to more of a word study approach in the building will also help develop comprehension along with decoding as well. ELA, just continuing with the rigor that Amplify provides, staying the course with our intervention blocks, and continuing to learn more about the science of reading together. I anticipate that to be some great results this year. PLCs overall, just improving upon what we do and the conversation about our data, not shying away from the tough decisions on what we have to do to change within ourselves to make the difference for our students. Instructional coaches, thank you for allowing us to have 2 in each building. It's going to be that's going to be a part of everything that we do in terms of PLCs. Myself and a number of other staff members have actually that as part of our goals. So we're all excited to have that path to move on. Working on the continued work that we do with inclusion right now, trying to continue to grow the co-teaching as opposed to pulling kids out all the time and layering the services and doing that with integrity. Learning more about that every day. Forefront, just not really seeing that as a challenge, but technically looking at that as a lever for change and how we give feedback and report to families and students on how they can better and improve. Math, just knowing that we have 2 advanced math classes in 5th grade, and that's never happened. So that's fantastic, and we want that to grow. But we also got to figure out with our historical data what occurs when we see a dip in the 5th grade math scores each year. We need to identify what that is and break that cycle when they move from 4th to 5th grade, and figure out what we need to do to turn that around. Then lastly, collective efficacy, just knowing in the building, like when you believe you can make the difference and then you feed everything that you have into that with the evidence that you are the key player in the change of what students can do and develop and learn. Once you know that and you develop that and build on everyone's excellence and build that capacity in the building and believe in one another and trust one another, everything about our building changes. And I noticed that with some of the people that we have hired over the last year, how that changes how we help one another and build capacity within one another has been amazing. So I believe that's going to be also a big impact in our building. Simply just a thank you for all that you guys are doing for us, all you are helping us change, and all the support you provide us all of the time. So have a great night, dream big, start small, and improve every day.